If you're like me, you're probably getting so tired of corporate America. The activism, the fact that they've become puppets on the strings of the left. I mean, they have swallowed the woke culture hook, line, and sinker. Now, we can ignore them, we can boycott them, and I recommend all the above in some cases. We can disconnect from them, but we can also do something else, which I think is very important at this time. We need to confront them. And that's why the left is controlling them, because the left is loud. They're the minority, but they're loud. And so there's a new conservative coalition that is looking to do just that, to confront them. Yesterday, the coalition Back to Neutral launched its website at stopcorporatetyranny.org as part of its effort to urge American corporations to cease their radical political activism and return to their core mission. We've said that all along. We don't want you to do our fighting for these public policy issues. We just want you to, if you sell widgets, sell widgets. If you sell hamburgers or chicken sandwiches, sell them. But don't take our profits and use them to preach this wokeism to us. Well, joining us now to talk about this coalition effort is Justin Danhof, General Counsel for the National Center for Public Policy Research, which is behind stopcorporatetyranny.org. Justin, welcome back to the program.
Hey, it's always nice to talk with you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, tell us more about the Back to Neutral coalition.
Yeah, we've just had enough, right? And I've been, at the Free Enterprise Project, which I direct, I've been engaged in the battle over corporate America for more than a decade. And I'm happy to say that, the conservative movement, the conservative cause is now with me. We have a large coalition that runs from authors and academics to activists to investors and investment leaders. So it's really a collection of great minds that are coming together to engage with companies. And right now, I'll be honest, as you laid out in the beginning, Tony, we are on the defensive. There is no doubt about it that we're on the defensive because we've ceded this cultural lane to the left because they've been, the squeaky wheel for so long. Mm-hmm. Well, we're letting companies know that there's another side out there, that, that we're tired of the cancel culture. We're tired of the sermonizing, right? Because business thinks itself as the moral arbiter in today's society on all sorts of issues, including issues such as Georgia's voter integrity efforts, right? We've got Delta Airlines and Coca-Cola and, a 72-page business, CEO coalition, a 72-member coalition signed an ad in the New York Times just yesterday condemning the law and comparing it to Jim Crow.
Yeah. We were just talking with a state legislator from Georgia about that, the hypocrisy there of Delta Airlines. This coalition, it's a broad coalition. Many individuals and organizations are a part of it. I think, is it not part of the reason that this coalition is so big and was fairly easy to assemble is because corporate activism has become so pronounced? I mean, it's grown. It's always been there a little bit, but I mean, it's almost like forget what we do in terms of what products we build or sell. Let's get involved in the culture. That seems to be what business is doing.
They're involved in everything. Do you realize right now there's 400 major American corporations, 400 pretty much from every single industry that are pushing folks on Capitol Hill to pass the Equality Act? Why is it in the interest of some of our largest companies in America to end women's sports as we know it and to end religious freedom as we know it?
Yeah.
That's wild. So yeah, and you know what? Gallup had a poll that showed this year, for the very first time since Gallup started asking the question decades ago, where do you feel, what's your sentiment towards corporate America? And for the very first time, corporate America was underwater with conservatives this past year. So yes, the timing is optimal, and it's optimal because corporate America has gotten just so bad. Think about last summer, as city after city burned, and stores were looted, and small businesses were, targeted that are never going to be able to reopen. The protesters from Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they may as well have been wearing T-shirts said, "Protest and riot brought to you by Amazon." Mm-hmm. Protest and riot brought to you by Pepsi, because these companies were funding them to burn down American cities. And so, yeah, I think conservatives couldn't look away any longer.
We're almost out of time, Justin, but I want to ask you this question because the business community, big business, is in the pocket of the left. They've become the mouthpiece and the funding mechanism for the left, as you just pointed out. But with that comes the left's social policies, which have to be funded, like we saw with this infrastructure package, so-called infrastructure, from increase in corporate taxes. Don't they realize that the left, that they're being accosted by and willingly being hostage to, is going to tax them and regulate them out of existence?
Yeah, I think I always put it this way, Tony. Companies like to get 9/10 woke, but they don't want to go 10/10 because then they'll be out of business. And so, their pushing of social issues down the throats of conservatives and canceling conservatives is really going to come back to bite them in the end. And that's a longer discussion about how companies need to be looking out for the long term, not the short term. Because CEOs who take these woke actions can get their golden parachute and leave the next guy holding the bag.
All right, and conservatives are not going to be there to help them as they have for years with reducing regulation and taxes. Because they won't be around.
That's right.
All right, Justin, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll encourage people to visit the website.
Thanks. God bless.
Okay.